Nobody said the road was going to be easy, but I don't believe he's brought us this far to leave us now. Allow me a moment of high commendation to the Jackson family. Thank you for adopting me as a son and as a brother. I'm grateful and love you much. It was on a wintry night, January 6, 1919. Theodore Roosevelt died of an embolism coronary. When the word came back to the Vice President Meslin, he asked, how did he die? The answer responded back, he died in his sleep. Vice President Meslin said that makes sense because had he been awake, there would have been a fight. Jesse Jackson died in the middle of the night because had he been awake, there would have been a fight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here because this is the first modern prophet in American history to prove to be bulletproof. This is the very first prophet that the government could not compromise and was able to stand. Those of you who are wondering why we have been here this long, the service wouldn't have been this long if we were able to go to the Capitol, but the Capitol is now only reserved for pedophiles and podcasters. We're in a critical moment in history. A critical moment in history where it is that we have to figure out what are we fighting for and all that we're running for. 1984 and 1988, Reverend Jackson was running. And physiologists suggest that running is not good for you long term. It strains your knees. It causes, in fact, stress on your body. Eventually, you begin to find yourself in pain. And in spite of all of the pain that was in Reverend's body, he kept on running. And the good news, ladies and gentlemen, that is not necessarily reflected from this microphone is Reverend Jackson didn't run alone, but he had the good sense and the foresight that when he was running, he took strong black women with him. I want to pause and thank God for his sister disciples in Donna Brazil and for Sister Mignon and Leah Daughtry, because he understood you ain't gonna go far unless you take strong black women with you. And I wish America would get over itself and just recognize America will never be great if we take strong black women with us. Can you imagine America would not elect a brilliant black woman because of her laughter, but they would elect a mediocre white man even if he was a felon? We got to take some strong black women with us. I'm glad my Congresswoman Nakima is here, my Senator Raphael Warnock is here, but I wish I had my governor here, Stacey Abrams, but they couldn't take a strong black woman with them. I'm so grateful 3 days after the election, I still stand with Jasmine Crockett because we got to take some strong black women with us. There's some strong black women who are sitting around you on today, and you ought to thank God for them because they've been keeping the dream alive down through the years, even when we didn't know how to. He's still been running. And I'm grateful that amongst his mentors, those who poured into Reverend Jackson's life, counted amongst them would have been Samuel DeWitt Proctor, Martin Luther King Jr., but another mentor of Reverend Jackson would have been a gentleman who we bumped into in Acts chapter 8. And in Acts chapter 8, we find that there was a government official who didn't know the word. He's riding in a chariot, but he didn't know what he was reading because he was used to hearing white evangelicals who didn't know the real gospel. And because he didn't know what it is that he was reading, there was a man that ran beside him and had to explain to him what the word of God actually said while he was running. Ladies and gentlemen, I need a church that will keep running, not just shouting, but we got to run to election polls and say, if you're going to say we open until 9 o'clock, don't close at 7 o'clock. We got to run and let them know, stop taking the ballots out of Fulton County. You got to keep running and say, our brothers and sisters from Haiti and Jamaica are not uncovered. We got to keep running so our seniors don't have to choose between groceries and their medication. education. We got to keep running so that our young people don't have to deal with banned books in the library. We got to keep running until our churches are relevant and are speaking truth to power again. We got to keep running so you're not satisfied having a Gucci bag and red bottoms and a Louis Vuitton belt, but you got to keep running until you make up in your mind, before I be a slave, I be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. We got to keep on running till you understand. Over my head I hear music in the air, and there must be a God somewhere. It is our job to keep running, because this is the oldest leadership Black America has ever had. There is no revolution without young people. And when it is that you realize, don't wait for them to pass you the torch, just take the baton. And so we need to decry that some of these people need to retire and some new voices need to emerge. Clear your throat so a new generation can step to the point and do what it is that God has told them to do. Many of you got confused and thought this was a program. This ain't no program. This is a homegoing celebration. We got to keep on running, because they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They'll mount up on wings and not get weary. They'll walk and not faint. We got to keep on running. We got to run until the next generation understands that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. We got to keep on running. That Langston Hughes was right. I too sing America. They ask me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I just laugh and eat well and grow strong, because I too am America. Keep on running. I know that we're in the house of hope. I know that he came out of fellowship. But if I was at apostolic around the corner, I would close this way. If anybody asks you, what's the matter with me? Tell them I'm saved.